So in this second part on how to use the Finite State Machine to create an enemy behavior, we're gonna add two more states, attack state and the chase state. When we are close to the enemy, we're gonna switch him to running, which is gonna be our chasing state. In this state, he's gonna follow the player. And once he reaches it, we're gonna switch to the attack state. And later on, we are going to add damage to the player. Recently, we have added the idle and the walking or the patrol animations. So without any further ado, make sure to hit the subscribe button and let's dive right into it. So to follow along with this new tutorial, you're gonna need a few more animations, like the zombie run. We're going to play it once we are close to the enemy. Then we're gonna use the agent to move the zombie to the player. And before we switch to the chasing state, I want to play this one, which is called Zombie Scream, to make it a bit scary. So the zombie has the animator, zombie animator. So I'm gonna double click on it. Recently we have added idle and walk. Today I'm gonna drag in zombie run, and you could rename it to zombie chase. And before we play the chase state, I want to add this zombie scream. And we're gonna use as exit time to switch directly to the zombie chase once this animation is finished. Now to control these, we want to add transitions. So when the zombie is walking or idle, we're going to calculate the distance, and if it's less than a certain range, we're gonna switch from walk or idle by adding a transition to the zombie scream, and we can go from idle to zombie scream as well. And to control the transition, I will add another boolean from the parameters tab, and let's call it is chasing. By default it's gonna be false, and when we change it to true, we're gonna switch to the zombie screaming by adding this as a condition, is chasing true. The same thing from here, which gonna play the scream animation. And once it's done, we can switch to zombie chase, and let's stick with that for now. We're going to control this parameter is chasing under walk and idle. So this is the patrol state. I'm gonna call it zombie patrol. We've already added the patrol state script. Let's open it up. Under this code, we need to get a reference to the player so that we can get the distance between the zombie and the player. So I will add another object, and it's gonna be a transform component. I'm gonna call it player transform. And to get it, we can use the player tag. So if you get back into Unity and selected the player, which is this FPS controller, the player capsule, you will see here the player tag. So we can get a reference to it. I think the name is a little bit long. Let's use player is equal to game object dot find game object with tag, or we can use find with tag and pass in the same name player. Then we're gonna use dot transform, and under the onState update, which is called over and over again, we can calculate the distance between the agent and the player. Let's write it after we set the destination. I'm gonna create a float. Distance is equal to vector3 dot distance, which takes in the two positions. The first one is gonna be the player position by writing player dot position, and our zombie using the agent dot transform dot position. Then we can check if the distance is less than a certain range, like 10 meters. We can declare a variable for that value on top. Let's declare it as a float, chase range, and set it to 10. And here we're going to check if the distance is less than the chase range. In such case, we are going to switch to chasing by changing the boolean that we have created under the animator. So to access it, we can use animator dot set float, set boolean. We have used the name is chasing, and we're gonna set it to true, which gonna transition to screaming and then to the chase state, which is running. We're gonna use the same code under the idle state. To save a bit of time, I'm gonna copy the same code. But under the idle state, we are not assigning the agent component. So we could also use the animator .transform.position to get the position of the agent. Make sure to save all of these scripts using file and save all. So the zombie is in front of us, and when we are close, he switches to screaming. Then we have running, which is our chase state. But he's not actually moving because we haven't created the code to move the agent to us. Now that we know that the transition is working, we can work on the chase state. So we have to select it and add a behavior to it by using this button add behavior and call it chase state. We can hit enter to confirm and create the script. So by default it is created under the assets. So I'm going to move it under the zombie folder and open it up by double clicking on it. And we're going to use the first three functions. On top we're going to declare a few variables that we're going to use, like the agent component to move it. Also we have the player. Under the onState enter, we're going to use agent is equal to animator dot get component, and we're going to get the navmesh agent component. And I'm hitting the tab key to confirm the code that we see right here. So writing the code now is much easier, but it is not always correct. So here we are getting the player by using game object dot find object with tag or find with tag of the player. Then we use dot transform, and under the onState update we're going to use agent dot set destination to the position of our player using player dot position. So let's save the script again and check if it's working. So by default is idle, and after a few seconds he switches to patrol, and if we are too close he's gonna switch to screaming. Then he's gonna start chasing. We can adjust the speed, so I think he's a little bit slow. Once we enter the chase state, I'm gonna change it by using agent speed, and let's increase the value. So by default when he's walking we have this value, which is 1. So I think I'm gonna set it to 2 under this state. Also we have to change it once we exit. So I'm gonna use agent.speed is equal to 1 once we exit out of this state. Also we need to make sure that he stops by using agent dot set destination to his current position by using agent then dot transform dot position. And now we need to check if he's too close to us. We can switch to the attacking, but first we have to add this animation. By dragging the zombie attack, we can switch between chase and attack by right clicking make transition from chase to attack and from attack to chase. To control it we are going to add another parameter, and let's call it is attacking, and we have to use it as a condition. When is attacking is set to true we can switch to attack, and if it's false we're going to switch back to chase. And I think we have to remove has exit time so that we can instantly switch to the animation without waiting. And under the chase state code we are going to calculate the distance again to check if we are close to the enemy. So we can use a float distance is equal to vector3.distance and give it the 2 positions. After that we can check if it's less than 2 meters. We can switch to attacking by changing the boolean is attacking to true. Also we can create a variable for this value and call it attack range, and let's declare it on top and set it to 2. And if we are too close we have the attacking, but if we go back you see that he's still attacking because we haven't added the code to switch back. So under the attack state we are going to calculate the distance again and check if it's greater than the attack range. We're going to switch back to chase by adding the behavior, and I'm going to use the same naming convention, attack state, then hit enter twice to confirm. So on top I have to add the player component or the player transform, and to get it we are going to use the same line of code. Player is equal to game object find with tag dot transform. Let's copy it and paste it. Under the onState update we're going to calculate the distance, and in this case we're going to check if the distance is greater than the attack range that we're going to add on top of the code, and let's set it to 2 as well. So if the value is greater than 2, or maybe we can set it to 3, we're going to switch back to a chase by changing is attacking to false this time. And we need to make sure that the enemy is looking at the player by using the transform or the animator dot transform dot look at, and we want to look at the player. Hit save and try it again. By default the enemy is idle. Now he's gonna switch to screaming, and he switches to attacking and chasing according to the distance between me and him. Yeah. So I think that's all for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any question or comment, make sure to put it under the comment section down below. Also, don't forget to subscribe so that you can get notified with my new videos. And I will see you in the next one.